Tonight, we're taking you inside a secret war room. We're going to uncover a story of military precision, high-stakes diplomacy, and a multi-billion-dollar bet that is completely reshaping the balance of power in South Asia. This is the story of Operation Sindoor and India's absolutely critical French connection.
Imagine this. While most of the world was asleep, the Indian Air Force launched an operation. But this wasn't just about hitting back. No. This was about systematically dismantling a clear and present threat. It was a night that would rewrite the entire rulebook on what a surgical strike really means.
So, let's set the scene. The date is May 6, 2025. In direct response to the horrific terror attacks in Pahalgam, the Indian government gave the green light for Operation Sindoor. But listen, this was no ordinary cross-border raid. Not even close. We're talking about a whole new doctrine in play here. Something way more advanced and, believe me, way more lethal. So what were they hitting? We're talking heavily fortified terror HQs, deep inside Pakistan, in Muridke and Bahalapur. And what did they use? Well, India's top-tier Rafale jets. But here's the real kicker, the absolute game-changer. The weapon was the French-made Scalp cruise missile. And get this, it meant they could land a devastatingly precise blow without a single jet ever crossing the border. Just think about that for a second.
All right, let's break this down, because everything that happened that night, all of that success, it all came down to one incredible piece of tech. A piece of tech that's now at the very heart of a new €300 million deal. It's time to talk about what they call the Ghost Missile.
So what is the SCALP? You might know it as the Storm Shadow in Europe, but really, you should think of it as a masterpiece of stealth. This thing doesn't just fly, it practically breathes the ground, flying so low, hugging the terrain, that it becomes a ghost to even the most sophisticated radar systems out there. We're talking about advanced systems like the Chinese-made HQ-9. To them, the SCALP is basically invisible.
But its stealth is only half the story. The real genius? It's in the warhead. It's called Brooch, and it's like a boxer's perfect 1-2 punch. First, the jab. A penetrator charge smashes right through meters of reinforced concrete. Then, once it's inside the bunker, bam! The knockout blow. The main warhead detonates. The result? Complete and utter destruction from the inside out.
Now, here's a number that if you're a pilot, you're gonna love. Over 250 kilometers. That's its standoff range. So what does that mean? It means a pilot can launch this thing and be heading for home long before they even get close to the enemy's kill zone. You know, where all those nasty surface-to-air missiles are waiting. It's a weapon that gets the job done and, most importantly, brings your people home safe.
So that brings us to the new €300 million order. Why now? Well, it's pretty simple, actually. It's all about sustainability. Operation Sindoor was the ultimate proof of concept. It works so well that for the Indian Air Force, this kind of standoff weapon is no longer a nice-to-have, it's absolutely non-negotiable. So this new deal? It's not just about restocking the shelves. No, it's about making sure India's deadliest arrow is always ready, always in the quiver.
Okay, so that missile deal is huge, right? But believe it or not, that's just the appetizer. The main course? Well, it's a deal so massive it's hard to wrap your head around. We're talking about a $39 billion bet on the Rafale jet itself.
Let's just take a moment to let that number sink in. 3.25 times lakh crore rupees. That's 39 billion US dollars. That is the massive price tag on India's hunt for a new multi-role fighter aircraft. And you guessed it, all signs are pointing to the Rafale as the big winner.
But here is where it gets really smart. Look at how this deal is put together. It's basically a Make in India masterstroke. Only 18 jets are coming off the shelf, straight from France, just to plug some immediate gaps. But the real meat of the deal, the other 96 jets, they're going to be built right here in India. We're talking a massive joint venture, likely between Dassault and Tata. In fact, Tata's already gearing up to build fuselages in Hyderabad. So you see, this isn't just buying planes, this is building an entire aerospace industry.
And what's the big picture here? The strategic takeaway? It's huge. Once this deal is done, India will be the single largest operator of Rafale jets on the planet, other than, France itself. That tells you everything you need to know about how deep this partnership really runs.
But this story isn't just about cool jets and powerful missiles. Not at all. If you want to understand why this is all happening right now, you've got to zoom out and look at the geopolitics, the diplomacy, and what some people are calling the Macron factor. It's really a story about how France became India's weatherproof friend. And in geopolitics, timing is absolutely everything. Check this out. French President Emmanuel Macron is set to land in Mumbai on February 17th. On the surface, it's all about kicking off the year of innovation. The public will be watching the big AI summit in New Delhi, but the real story, that's happening behind closed doors, where these monumental defense deals are getting their final signatures.
So you have to ask, why France? Why not someone else? And the answer comes down to something really simple but incredibly powerful. Unlike some other global partners, Paris just doesn't lecture New Delhi. There are no sermons about domestic policy, no threats of sanctions hanging over your head, no strings attached. What do they offer instead? The one thing every nation craves: full, unrestricted technology transfer. That, right there, is the Holy Grail.
And make no mistake, this relationship is deep and it's getting deeper. There's this roadmap called Horizon 2047, and it lays out a partnership that stretches across literally every domain. You've got the Scorpion submarines already in the water guarding the coasts. You have joint work on next-gen jet engines. France is basically becoming a key architect in India's military modernization. And it's all built on a shared goal: keeping the Indo-Pacific secure. And that brings us right back to where we started, full circle. Because all of this, all the billions of dollars, all the high-level diplomacy, all the tech transfer, it all hinges on one single thing: proof of concept. And that proof was delivered in spectacular fashion by Operation Sindoor, justifying every single rupee of this massive investment. But let's be real for a second. You gotta ask the tough question, right? There were other incredible jets on the table. The American F-15, the Swedish Gripen, so why? Why would the Indian Air Force go all in, bet the entire house on the French Rafale?
The answer comes down to one number: 12. That's right. Reports are now confirming that in that one single night, Operation Sindoor didn't just hit a few targets, it successfully hit and neutralized 12 major Pakistani air bases. That's not just a mission, that's a strategic checkmate. So how on earth did they pull that off? Well, this is how. The Rafale has a secret weapon called the Spectra system. It's the jet's integrated electronic warfare suite, and frankly, it might just be the best on the planet. See, it didn't just jam enemy radar. The reports say it blinded them completely. It was like it just walked up to the enemy's air defense network, switched off the lights, and created these wide-open doors for the Scalp missiles to just waltz right through. At the end of the day, the IAF wants what works in a real fight. And after Sindoor, there's no doubt about it, the Rafale is king.
So what's the big takeaway here? What does all this mean? Well, when you combine a combat-proven platform with a reliable, no-strings-attached partner, you get a brand new era of deterrence for India. This isn't just a purchase, it's a powerful strategic declaration to the entire world.
And here's the absolute bottom line. India is fundamentally shifting its entire strategic posture. By pouring money into this deep strike capability, the ability to hit any target, anytime, with devastating precision from way outside of harm's way, India is stepping away from just being reactive. It's sending a crystal clear message to any adversary. You better think twice, maybe 3 times, about the cost of making a wrong move.
And that leaves us with one final massive question. That number we talked about, 3.25 lakh crore rupees. Is that just too much to pay for controlling the skies? Or, in a world that's getting more chaotic by the day, is this the exact kind of high-premium insurance policy a rising power like India simply has to have for its future?
I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments. And for more deep dives that unpack the geopolitics and technology shaping our world, make sure you subscribe. If you like this breakdown, you're going to want to check out our explainer on next-generation aircraft carriers. It should be popping up on your screen right about now. Thanks for joining me.